How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, let's jump right into it. Um, just First of all, once again, going to another American Century Championship. What are your thoughts going into this year? I know you've done it a couple of years in the past. How are you feeling going into this year's?
I feel my game is trending right now, so I got as good as chance as any to have a better showing than last year. I think my goal every year is to try to beat my best finish. I think some years ago I finished 15th, so that's my goal. If I can beat 15th, then I've had a really productive week. So I'm excited to go out there. Obviously, spend some time with guys that you don't normally get a chance to see and golf with, and create some new friendships. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, I think it was 2020. You finished 15th, so it wasn't that long ago. So you get back
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
war, so you're right there. I'm just curious, was there like a special rivalry or competition that you had with certain guys at the event?
Well, you always have a little bit, but the one that we chop it up with is myself and Larry Fitzgerald. I've known Larry since he was in college back at Pitt, and I was in Pittsburgh. So I've known him for a very, very, very long time, and so we always go at each other. And the American Century Championship is the time that we say, hey, between me and you, whoever wins gets bragging rights. So he's the one guy that I look at and say, I got to beat him.
I like that. I like that a lot. Obviously, got to talk some football with you, man. It's just, come on, man.
Yeah,
We're a Hall of Famer, one of the best running backs to ever do it. So I have to ask you some questions.
yeah.
And, I do want to start off just from this past year's Super Bowl. I'm curious for your thoughts. Obviously, the Eagles, the big win, but led by Saquon Barkley all season, and just the impact that he had in one season with the Eagles as a running back, going through the whole contract situation with the Giants. Just curious for your thoughts on just the way Saquon performed and how he may have changed the way teams are looking at running backs as they get older.
Well, I think what teams have to understand is when you find a franchise running back, that you sign him. No, make no mistake, because he changes the complexion of what your team looks like and how your team will perform. I think a lot of times people kind of look at where the NFL is today. It's more of a passing league. And because of that, people have taken, that running back position a little bit for granted and say, you know what, we can get just a guy to go out and give us 12, 15 carries. And then we get another guy to give us another 10 or 8 carries. And we can do it, by just getting a couple good players. And they don't have to pay the price of a, top tier running back, and they can put that money in other places. But what they now are starting to realize that if I don't have a franchise running back, then my team looks markedly different than some of these teams that are competing for a championship, because they have that go-to running back. Now, I will say this: it's not easy to find the franchise running backs because the colleges aren't running the ball the way they used to, and so you don't see as many coming out of the NFL every year. You see one, maybe two. I think this draft they really had two really solid running backs who you felt really good about drafting in the first round, and so you're not finding as many as you used to. But when you find one, you better covet them, and you better keep them, and you better pay them.
I definitely hear that. And obviously, that worked out well for the Eagles this year. And he also got
Yeah.
an extension following that.
But you also let me say this: you saw Green Bay. They went out and got a guy, and he was a bell cow, and he changed what that team looked like, right? Then you look at Baltimore. They go out. They went and got a guy, Derrick Henry, a stud, and it made them look totally different, right? So when you find them and you bring them in, it changes your team markedly, and you see the difference. So it's not a mistake that these teams had the years that they had with the running backs that they had.
No, it makes perfect sense. And you want to have that consistency, and you want to have a guy that's proven it. So it
Yep.
definitely makes sense. And I'm just looking at the other side. The Chiefs obviously lost that game, going for the three-peat. Do you feel like that was possibly their last big run? I know a lot of people are thinking about it, maybe because Travis Kelce considered retirement, and it's hard to keep going back there. Do you feel like this team maybe just had their last big run during this past Super Bowl?
No, I think what people don't realize, the strength of this team is, it's not their offense. The strength of this team is their defense. And as long as Spagnuolo is there, he's the mad scientist with this defense. As long as that defense is intact and they can still get after the quarterback on defense, they're going to be a quality football team. They got a guy named Mahomes who he makes everybody better. So yes, maybe Kelce is on his farewell tour, if you call it that. But I promise you, even if he wasn't there, they would still be a quality football team, because he'll find other ways to beat you. And that's what he's always done. Regardless of who's in the lineup, he'll find the best way to beat you. And I think that's the mark of a great quarterback, that it doesn't have to look the same week in and week out. Kelce doesn't have to catch the ball eight catches in order for them to be really good. If he doesn't play well, he'll find other ways to beat you. And I think that's the true sign of a great quarterback. And Mahomes has proven that he's a great quarterback. So I don't believe this is the last we've seen of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll still be good next year. The question is, can you get to Mahomes? If the offensive line isn't that good, then the Kansas City Chiefs probably won't be that good.
Definitely see that. They've already tried to make some moves at free agency as well as in the draft to try to shore up that offensive line. So that's definitely a big thing that they've been looking at. And I got to talk about your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Big signing, Aaron Rodgers, and he's pretty much announced this is going to be his last year. What are your expectations for Pittsburgh, knowing that they are going with a quarterback? He's the oldest quarterback in the league, I believe, oldest player in the league, and he's the starting quarterback for this year, where it's a pivotal year for the most part.
Yeah, I think it's one of those scenarios where it's what you have to do if you want to be competitive. A lot of people has been saying, "Oh, why would you go and get Aaron Rodgers?" Well, there weren't a lot of options available. First of all, right? Let's say that. And if you want to have a competitive team, you've got a playoff caliber defense. You need competent quarterback play. That's been the issue the last 3 to 4 years. You haven't been able to get that productivity out of the quarterback position. Now, you got a couple of issues with Rodgers. You got to be able to protect him. If you can't protect him, you're not going to be able to get that really, really high quality play out of Aaron Rodgers. But if you can protect him, if we can run the football and have a solid running game, now all of a sudden you got something. You have the ability to make a team a better team with an Aaron Rodgers, because you're asking him to throw the football 20 to 25 times. If you're asking Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball 40, 45 times, it's going to be a disaster season, because he's not going to be able to hold up, because that offensive line is not as good as some of the other offensive lines in the NFL. If you can get the offensive line to protect you, now you got a chance. But I believe that the true ability to be a quality team with Rodgers is if you're running the football and you're asking him to throw it 20, 25 times. I think that's when you got a special scenario. And you can get the best out of Rodgers. You can get that special Rodgers and not just the good Rodgers.
Right, I definitely agree with that, and just giving him time to really work. He has some problems and injuries, of course, but I want to take it back, obviously, back to your playing career, and Pro Football Hall of Famer. You won a Super Bowl. Your final game was a Super Bowl in Detroit. I just want to know your mindset going into that game, knowing that it's your final game, it's in your hometown. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like, I know there's pressure. They always talk about all the pressure that goes into a Super Bowl, but for you, that had to be a different level just because of the way everything lined up.
Yeah, for me it was different though because I had never been there, right? And so yeah, I know it was my last game, but this is why I came back. This is why I stayed. This is why I played the game. I played to have an opportunity to win a championship, right? Now, here it is. Super Bowl is in my hometown. It's like it's lining up. It's everything I ever wanted. So for me, it wasn't like a big pressure on my back. Um, it was more of the excitement of the moment, right? Can't wait. This is it. This is what I've been waiting for my whole career, and it's coming down to this moment in time. So I was excited about the opportunity. I understand how it could seem like so much pressure on somebody at that particular time, but for me, I knew it was over after that. So my thought was, let's go out, leave it all out here, and let's see what happens, right? And if we lose, I can tip my cap to those guys over there and say, hey, great job, and I can leave knowing that I did the best that I could do. And my whole goal when I got to Pittsburgh was to help lead this franchise back to another championship, right? So win, lose, or draw, I would have fulfilled, I thought, my obligation, right, as a player, as a leader on this team, help get this team back to a championship because that's the standard. And I think that's what every player on that team right now should be saying to himself. My obligation is to get this team back to championship contention. We got to get there. And that should be the goal, right? And so that was my goal. And I was saying, hey, I did my part. I helped get us there. And now we got to go out there and win it so that we'll have that moment that we'll all cherish for a lifetime.
It's funny. You actually kind of just segued right into the question I was going to ask about because so many players, especially I played with you or played against you, talk about how much of a leader you are, how much of a mentor you are. I just want to know, like, where did you get that quality from? Where did you get that inspiration to be that guy to just like help the next person and help them along their journey?
Well, it really came from the lack of help that I received when I was drafted. And so we had a situation where, and obviously I'm coming in as a rookie. There was a running back that had a huge year the year before, and here they go, they draft me, and the veteran running back, he was upset. And his name was Cleveland Gary, had a great career in my University of Miami, and just come off a big year with the Rams, and they drafted me. So obviously there was resentment there, right? Because he felt, hey, I did everything you asked me to do, and now you guys go and draft a replacement, right? So he was upset, which I would have been too if I was in his position. And so what happened, what transpired after that was a lack of help. So I'm in that meeting room, and I understand, but it wasn't my fault they drafted me, right? So he shouldn't have took it out on me. And I felt that he took it out on me a little bit, and that I didn't get the help that I felt I should have gotten from the number one guy in the room. And so because I didn't, I felt that I won't ever do that to anybody else. And, since that moment, myself and Cleveland Gary, we've developed a really good relationship, as time went on. And he understood the error in his ways. And we came back together, and now we have a friendship. But I said to myself, I will never, ever do that to a guy who comes into the organization, because I'm not picking the players, right? But my job, my responsibility as the leader of this running back group is to make sure I get all these guys ready to play. because if, God forbid, I'm not here, they've got to carry on the mantle and they've got to be successful to help this organization win, right? And so that was always my mindset going in. I need to make sure that every guy in this running back room is ready to take on the challenge, because if you're not wanting to be the starting running back, then you're in the wrong business, right? Every guy in this room should want to be the starter. And that's why I would always tell these guys, and I would push them to want to be the best versions of themselves as well.
It's definitely a great message. I feel that I definitely feel that a lot. I actually go right to my last question, and this hits probably more home. Hits more home to you because your son is going to be starting at Notre Dame. That's your alma mater. Just what runs through your mind knowing that he's going to be playing there? Everyone's going to be seeing the name, the last name, and the legacy, and all those things. And I'm just curious, like, how do you approach that? And I don't know if that weighs on his head at all.
Well, I've always kind of talked to him about expectations, and I told him, no one should be able to expect more from you than you expect from yourself, right? And don't go out there and think you need to do it because your dad played here, or because your last name is Bettis and this happened. I said, you go out there and be the best version of yourself you can possibly be, work as hard as you can, and let that be your legacy, right? And so I try to instill that in him, because he does have this burden, if you will, of being my son, me having played there, had success there. But I tell him, you're not following in my footsteps. I didn't play wide receiver, right? I didn't do the things that you've done. So you go out there and do what you can do, what you are blessed to do, and leave it all on the table. Leave it all out there. Give 110%. And you can be satisfied with what happens from there. So I've tried to give that message for him to understand that this is his journey and his journey alone. And mine and his don't equate to being the same, right? So go out there and be the best version of yourself you can possibly be. I'm your dad. I'm going to love you 110%, and I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader regardless of what happens. So as long as he understands and knows that, then I'm happy with whatever happens. But I'll tell you this, I am the biggest fan right now, and I'm just so proud to be able to watch him come out of the tunnel with that helmet on, getting ready for his first game. That's going to be a special moment for me.
It's definitely a game we're all looking forward to seeing as well. Jerome, thank you so much for your time, man, and best of luck on this year's tournament.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.